right, all right. Hey. Woo! We are back in 2023. You feel me? I am Janell Banks, your host that does the most, and we are back on the Comedy Power Hour on KUAW 98.5, which stands for Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. And we are brought to you by the Music and More Foundation. And woo, you talk about a hiatus. I could have had a whole baby by now. Like, I can't think of the last time that I was here, and I have to do it from my house today because a lot is going on. But thank God for technology. We are back. We are back. We are busy back, and I have a guest host today. Christian Black man who has so many titles, live out of St. Louis because we are virtual. And also, let's not forget my homeboy Sean. He will be back in the building once we work out these kinks and the schedule and whatnot. But hello, Christian. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank
Superstar.
you. Oh, well, thank you for doing this at the utmost last minute with my rambunctiousness request and all that. Christian, you have a lot of titles and we have a lot of great conversations based off your titles and just who you are. So I don't want to butcher anything. Please let us know who you are and what you do and what you about.
Cool. Yeah, so born and raised currently in St. Louis. And so let's see, I do wear a lot of hats. First, I'm an organizer, activist here in the city. I currently do housing justice and advocacy work. The motto at my organization, which is Homes for All St. Louis, is housing is a human right. So we believe all people should have equitable housing. Outside of that, I also do art curation. So I've been doing art curating work for over a decade at this point. And I have several shows coming up this year. So yeah, my art shows range from political issues to like just cultural things. So I ain't want to keep going.
I mean, you could, you could,
Okay.
you could, you can, you shall.
But yeah, no, and I like to talk a lot about a lot of issues. So thank you for having me hop on to chop it up with you.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here. And one of the reasons I definitely wanted to have you on, and I think with having Sean on the show, I just wanted to pivot. The Comedy Power Hour, we talked about things that are hilarious, things that are going on in the comedy world and whatnot. However, I wanted to just kind of change the transition and still keep it funny, but keep it powerful and informative as well to go along with the pipeline and what KUAW does for the radio. So I definitely want to keep y'all entertained, keep y'all laughing, but let's get into the current events and the status quo up in America and everything else. I want to encourage, influence, and just also motivate. This year, I think, as everybody is saying, is a Jordan year. It's about just elevating it, as you know, going to the next level. You know, we want to break those glass ceilings, and so I think with this show, I want to take my comedy to the next level, be hilarious, but go back to why I became funny, just making fun of everything that's going on. You know, my motto is just laugh. I'm known as Miss Just Laugh. And by that, I mean simply just laugh at everything that's going on. You got to find the silver lining and the humor in it. And I believe humor is the silver lining, basically. So we're going to get and discuss a lot of things, but keep you encouraged because, baby, this is the Comedy Power Hour. You're going to get a power hour of just pure, nonstop, informative hilarity. So, and that's when we have the show because Auntie's schedule is busy. Let me tell you, becoming a 30-some-year-old woman and having a schedule and having to be places and have deadlines, woo, it's intense. And I think we just live in a day and age where if you're not busy, you're not doing anything, you're not working, you're not functioning. You know, we live in the in the year of the flex. And so I just want to get into these topics. First of all, baby, the Senate. We finally got a Speaker of the House. We finally did. It took 15 votes And child, let me tell you, I almost saw the job on Indeed. I just thought it was gonna be on Indeed or Career Builder or Monster.com.
I
Cause
mean,
child, I mean, what in the what? 15 votes, Chris. I mean, 15 votes.
yeah,
And here I didn't think McCarthy was gonna get it.
I
And I don't
mean,
think at one point he thought he was gonna get
he didn't. Well, he thought originally he was gonna get it. He thought he was. He thought he was gonna slide up in there real quick and just grab that. But a lot of them not messing with him. A lot of the Republicans ain't really rolling with him.
it.
So
Yeah.
it was very comical to watch. Like you said, we gotta laugh to keep from crying with all of the things, and the political space is definitely one. So yeah, he thought he was gonna slide in. He thought he had it in the bag. And yeah,
No.
they they ripped it like it was like Ti taking that chain, snatching that chain off of New Neck at ATL because he thought he had it. But it was interesting to watch. So I asked my mom. So apparently the record, I don't know what year it was, but they had to go to 100 votes.
Oh wow. That's when people don't want you to have that job.
How
Can
do
you
you even
imagine?
like exactly? Because I'm done. I'm not voting anymore. I'm
And
not.
I'm not voting, and I'm just gonna stand up and say nobody wants you here, Deborah Cox. Like nobody wants you here. Why are you here, girl?
Can you imagine
How
like
did we get here?
100? Like you had to do this 100 times over. That's crazy. But yeah, so we have McCarthy, and that's the Speaker of the House. So
I
very much
mean,
on brand. This is on brand with
it,
everything.
it's giving me very January 6th ish, very insurrectionist. It's giving me very, yeah, we want to go back,
Here we are again. Yeah,
it's giving
yeah.
me very 12 years a slave, it's giving me, it's wild. Although I know Pelosi wasn't a favorite. Pelosi didn't become a favorite until she kind of started shutting people down. And I live for the gavel and I live for the suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, live for I live for the spiciness. Like, I feel like the next part of her career should be spent on those infomercials where they have those wild side effects, but like you take it, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Tesla, Creza Desla, you know what I'm saying? Bippity boppity boost, whatever them prescription drugs are. Like, I feel like that's her next lane. Like, that's what she should be doing. Like, she should just be making sure that they have Part A, Part B life insurance and just well informed. Like, she's
Especially
the poster
Dr.
child for
Smith.
spicy old ladies. Do and everything that you are, and to my phenomenal fat brothers of Alpha Beta. No, woo. Okay, I love you. Anyways, moving on. Shaw, Jan Shaw, you're not a housewife girl. But I'm a housewife girl, and
Mm-mm. But I've been
I live.
following.
I live for the housewives. Like, I just, for real. Like, I recently, like, I never follow along with them. I'm always like 10 seasons behind, but then I have these moments where I binge watch. And Jen Shaw is a part of the Salt Lake City franchise. And Jen Shaw is like, if flexing was a body language, a lifestyle, a moment, a thing, that's what she does. Like, flexing is like her thing. And so for me, it's very entertaining to now see that she is being sentenced to 6.5 years for flexing. you know, like, so she's been sentenced to wire fraud and racketeering, which is wild when you think of like a housewife or someone who technically doesn't, like, when you think of their title, technically they're not employed, they don't work, but of course they bring in revenue. Um, she basically had like these consumer businesses, direct sales businesses that were basically bamboozling older people out of money and things like that. And we know that a lot of times when we hear like marketing companies or peer-to-peer marketing companies, they generally are scam. But what's wild about Jan Shaw is that she is like this main character on this show that pretty much gives us this like, you know, vibe that like she has everything. She spends an astronomical amount of money for no reason and is always on like, I have money, I make money, I'm richer than everybody else, like get into it. And so to find out that like you literally been scamming
Scary.
money is, you know, it's wild, you know, and sometimes like I realize this is the generation we live in, you know, where like we're at a cusp in life where it is cool to just literally like steal or whatever to like put on a lifestyle for other people. I don't even think it's like a wedding, the concept of a wedding. A wedding is not for you. People are married before their actual wedding. You go down to the courthouse, you sign the paper, and you do all the things. And then you have this ceremony. It's just like that's the lifestyle. But like now it's ending people up in prison. Like you see Young Thug and this
I
whole
mean,
situation. And
yeah, that's unfortunately that is our culture now. It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg. So it's like, did you see all this on like on TV and social media, and then that impacts culture, or is this just a culture thing that's already happened and that impacts what you see? I think it could be a mixture of both. But yeah, I mean, the only Housewives I did watch was Atlanta. I watched Housewives of Atlanta for a number of years. I stopped watching it when Indy went off. So I did watch a little bit. So, but yeah, unfortunately, that's everybody wants to flex on somebody.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And how do you do that other by, you know, how much money you got, brands, labels, cars, homes, businesses. And like you said earlier, we live in like a big hustle culture. And I get it because I do a lot of things. You do a lot of things, right? But I feel like a lot of that, most of that comes from like just our passions and we genuinely want to do a thing, right? Not because we feel like
mm-hmm.
we have to in order to say that we do it. And
Right.
also, me is recognizing that rest is important and all of that. But we've been made to feel like if we don't hustle and do all of this, then we're our value that's tied to our value and our worth. And Housewives is a prime example of that. I mean, there's a lot of folks out here scamming in real
Mm-hmm,
life,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
or at least faking it, just for views, likes, loves, to go viral, whatever. So I mean, I don't know when this will end. I don't
I
think
mean,
it'll
it's
end
it's
anytime soon.
it's really wild. Like to me, I was younger growing up and we would see like rappers or like, you know, any type of celebrity, anybody on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up in the era of MTV Cribs. And so for us, it was never like, oh, you know, we want that lifestyle, but we want to do it. If we wanted that lifestyle, like I would become a rapper, you know what I'm saying? I would aspire to be a football player, et cetera, et cetera. It's like social media has made it seem where like we have to literally meet this celebrity lifestyle just being regular people, and
Absolutely.
that is wild to me, you know
From
what I'm
what you
saying? Like
have to how you look, where
yeah,
like plastic surgery. I'm not knocking anybody to get surgery, but my point is that there at one point there really was just super uber like wealthy celebrities got work done, and like it was
mm-hmm.
kind of taboo for like quote unquote normal people to get that. Now you
Yeah,
look that crazy if you don't get surgery.
if you don't get, like I keep seeing this meme that or a post that is shared online, like why you get a BBL to work at T-Mobile. And at first I'm like, it's a very mean spirited meme, but at the same time it's like, why are you literally making these modifications to your body to just be like normal? Like, are you literally not at peace with yourself? You know, and I know it's a struggle like it's almost kind of like I sound like a hater, or I'm coming off as a hater because I'm trying to ask like everyday average women, like, why are you having plastic surgery? Because it's kind of like it's almost a flex because people automatically respond with you just mad because you don't want to have, you can't have it or
Don't
you
want to
can't
have it or you
afford it.
can't afford it again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, even if I could, you know what I did instead of getting a BBL, I went to go get my teeth fixed. And I pay for dental care. Like I'm out here getting fillings. I'm out here getting deep cleaning. I'm out here getting my regularly scheduled cleanings now. Like that was my BBL for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I never really, you know, put a precedence on like dental care. And then when it came to it, I was like, oh no, that's too expensive, you know. So, I mean, granted, if I was in a different tax bracket, I'm for sure I would probably suck this stomach out. But I would also my issue with like just the Jan Shaws and the women of the world, like we have now went to this extreme of I am literally going to have plastic surgery and then go to the gym and then tell people you can do it too because I did it too because I'm in this gym every single day getting it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what
And
I'm
also,
saying, like.
yeah, and it's also like if you want to do that, do it. I think a lot of it is because you're being for some people it's like you're being forced to feel like you have to, right? And again, it goes to like that value and work piece of like, oh, if I don't look this particular way, then whatever. It's funny you brought up MTV cribs, but you know a lot of those cribs were fake.
Yeah, that's
Going back to this
wild.
whole
Like,
thing, like
right.
Redman talked like Redman's crib was, I mean, that was his crib. He talked about how they wanted him to like, they were like, hey, we got this crib we rented for this show. And he was like, nah, I got a crib for y'all. And that's his like that infamous episode of Crib. It's just funny you brought that up because it goes back to this whole like, and people watch that and think these celebrities and these people have all of these things, and most of the time they don't. It's literally rented or it's literally loaned, and that's why you have so many artists over time that are like going back, having to file bankruptcy and all of these different things because they actually don't have the money that they've spent. And I think this
Mm-hmm.
it just continues to get worse with how the culture now and technology and the things that we digest every day with social media and all of that. So,
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's grown at like a grotesque level of the point where people are going to jail. You see a
hey,
number of people like
how many
literally, I mean,
scammers is
like the
down in
PP.
Atlanta though? Like, think about all the scam.
Man, listen, I love the city of Atlanta, but if
Me too.
you gonna
But
be
if you want to,
friends with somebody from Atlanta, if you gonna date somebody from Atlanta, if your cousin, grandma, auntie, somebody live in Atlanta, tread lightly because this is the capital of. I got 3 jobs in one day and 3 different personalities and 3 different time zones in the same city. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
yeah,
wild. I think because people sit in traffic so long in Atlanta, they have had to become different people, you know. And it's just wild. Like sometimes when you hear about people get scammed and you're like, you didn't see that? Like what? How come you know like literally these gift card scams are still going on? You know what I'm saying? These text messages scams are still going on. Like, you know, I love like when you get these text messages now that are like, hey, you know, your account balance for your order, blah 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 blah. And you be like, what? And but I mean, there are people who still like will go down this whole like wormhole and get scammed. And it's like, but it screams scam from the beginning. Like, what is you doing, little baby? Like,
hey,
what's going on? And I mean, like, I try not to be paranoid and I try not to be one of them old ladies like, hey, 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 you better not, hey, 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 you better not log on that computer. Hey, 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 you better not be, you know, hey, 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 the fans is watching. Hey, hey, because, you know, like I have Alexa in my house. And people be like, oh, you're just letting Alexa just listen to you. And I'm like, hear me out. Like, I'm not racketeering. I'm not doing anything to me that I don't even really like answer the phone. Like I don't think, you know, like I'm not like I don't even get like the only thing I'm scamming is like cold cash. And I'm not scamming that. You know what I'm Like I have to earn that. So it's just, I mean, it's crazy. Like money is like literally, remember back in the day when they were like, money is the root of all evil, and it's just the evil, and it's just the devil. It lit like literally now I get it, because it really makes people, you see a different side of people. It ruins business relationships, it ruins relationships. I mean, like now this big thing, to kind of segue into our next subject, is this whole situation with like Gucci Man. So the rapper's name, what's his name? Scar,
Star,
Big
yeah.
Scar.
Scar, I believe. That sounds really old because I'm like, what's his name? I believe it's Scar, yeah. Because yeah, I didn't even know. But yeah, Scar. First off, rest RIP to the brother. It's been a lot. We've lost a lot of artists in hip hop and the hip hop rap world, from like veterans and legends to like new artists that come in the game, young, older, all of that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's between gun violence and drug overdoses. It's just wild. And I hate to be one of them anti-drug people, but this is KUAW. This is all about knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Like recreational drugs right now are very scary because they are being laced. People who sell recreational drugs at this point don't even know what they're getting and selling. And so we've
R.I.P.
seen,
It made me think about Gangsta Boo. R.I.P.
yes,
Gangsta Boo. Yeah.
yes. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a thing. Like being a comedian, comedians have taken a hit this year. We just lost Boogie, RIP. Oh my gosh, in New Orleans to gun violence. This past year we lost a lot of comedians to fentanyl, and it wasn't like abuse or anything like that. It was just like, let's go, people typical hanging out, doing a little whatever, sugar booger, you know what I'm saying? And boom, back you're gone. And it's crazy because it's like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So I just say tread lightly when you are doing these things, because right now we in a space where people are scamming and trying to profit and just putting some nasty stuff out in the environment, and there's really no repercussion for it, or you can't really track it down, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like you can have a scary moment and that's it. Like it's literally taking your life instantly. So um be careful with that. But to go into the subject, Gucci Man and this funeral. So a post was made on social media where family members, friends of family members of said rapper were upset because they felt that Gucci Man did not pay, or did not pay enough money, did not send money. I think the first statement was like he didn't send any money, and then he requested back the change, although he stated that he was going to pay for the funeral. And so I just saw a recent update where the sister was stating that, he did send $10,000, but $10,000 is only like flowers in a program. And because when I heard that, I was like, oh, $10,000 ain't gonna do nothing. Then she stated that someone else sent $10,000. So it's $20,000, but that's not gonna do anything. Then in the other breath, she was like, for people who said he didn't have life insurance, he does. So he's going to be taken care of. We don't even need y'all money. So I'm like, I'm confused, because what's the whole like hoopla about the money in the first place? Like why would you go on social media to like basically throw this man under the bus for not providing funds? Like it's a crazy circumstance. Go ahead.
And
I'm
did the
sorry.
sisters say this after the receipts were shown that they actually
Yes.
did pay? Okay.
Yes.
Because
And
y'all
then
was
she said
saying,
it's really just about getting the change back. But I'm like, you literally initially made it about y'all feel that this man should be paying for this funeral.
well, they framed it like he said he was going to pay and then he like reneged, right? So then that's what made people be like, oh, that's messed up. How you say you're going to do this and then you don't, right? And then they come and show the receipts like we actually did pay. We paid directly to the funeral home. So then the conversation was like, were y'all kind of mad that it wasn't paid to y'all directly? Instead, it was paid to the funeral home, so that way you knew the money and what was happening with the money. So I mean, on one hand, I get, you know, this was one of his artists. You're looked at as like probably like you Gucci man, right? You're a mentor. You bring these artists in with you into your crew, your collective, and all of that. So yeah, we're gonna look out for you, whatever. I get that. I get the idea of that. I'm sure if I was in a position to have, I would be like, yo, here's some money too. Like I get it, but I think a part of it, I think it's the feeling of the entitlement of like, you have to do this thing, and oh, you did this thing, but it wasn't enough. Like I don't know what is enough, right? Like, and then the whole life insurance thing was brought up. So now, is that true? Because now I don't really believe none of y'all say. Because first y'all said he didn't pay no money at all. So like, or that he reneged on it. So like, does he like? But the reality is a lot of artists don't have like life insurance, and so. And I don't want to be that whole prioritize. Like I get it. I get you young, you get money, and then these are the things you want to obtain, right? Whether it's getting a car, getting a house, doing these particular things. So I'm not trying to be that person, right? However, at the same time, like I don't know what needs to happen to where it is some type of I don't know, like education that is happening to where, because artists are going to get exploited in any type of realm, whether it's like you on like a major label or you're on an independent thing, or unless you're doing it independently on your own. But there's room when you connect to somebody else to be exploited, whatever that might look like. But education around what you do with your money, how you take care of yourself, like if you do have insurance, like all of these different pieces, like some of y'all insure y'all jewelry and stuff that don't really matter. So why aren't you insuring like your life? Right.
So that was a huge one of like my favorite parts. I don't know if you've watched Earthquake's recent special or past special. He like touched up on that in like in our culture, how we will literally go spend thousands of dollars on Jordans and J's, but then be like, I don't want to go to the dentist to drop $200 on a toothache, you know, or like we won't insure our bodies. And I'm not even going to say that's a cultural thing. I legitimately think that is like a thing with just, it's a generational thing. You know, like.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead and now.
It's kind of like a generational thing, because like, you know, we hear our elders always complaining to us about like, you should have bought a house, you should buy this, you should buy that. Whereas now, like, things are, a generational shift has happened. Like, girl, we about to live in these condos and apartments and little tiny houses and rent, just rent a spot because we like to move and be nomads. And yeah, we're gonna buy the nice things. We're gonna buy the bags and things like this. But then I also look at like my grandparents' generation, and I'm like, you could literally like buy a house for like
$10.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Your down payment was like $199. You know what I'm saying? So if it was literally that easy to just buy up real estate, because we do flex, and you do have like this part of our generation that be like, y'all tripping, why y'all buying J's? I just went out here and bought 60 acres, and we like, ooh, yay, trees. You know, like we have people like that, you know. So people are investing in the things they want to, but it's just like, where is the money? Like the cost of living is steadily increasing, but sometimes rates are not. And so like, I know I sit in my house sometimes wondering like, yo, how is everybody in Miami? And then they here and they there and they, you know what I'm saying? And yada, yada, yada. Like, what's the deal? Like, it's wild. But like, back to the whole Gucci man thing, I just thought it was wild for this expectation that he would need to cover the funeral expenses, like, or the expectation that he should. And I wonder if that's in a contract, you know, or if that's something record labels have ever like brought, you know, up, you know, do we literally insure these people's lives? because they are at risk. I mean, as you can see with rap music now, I don't follow rappers like that. Like, I feel horrible because I didn't really realize who Nipsey Hussle was until he passed. And I mean, like, I love his music. I love everything he stood for as an artist. And it's like seeing people be put at danger like that or at a risk. It's like, do you just automatically ensure their lives are saved? Like, in a label signing, like, hey, you know, you need to make sure that you're taken care of now, just because you're a target, and it may not be any situational beef or anything like that. It's just literally that you are now rich and enabled or empowered, so that puts you as a target. But I think what is crazy is the things that come to light on social media, and then the dissertations and conversations that are had. But I just think it's wild that you will go on social media and have this expectation of somebody, and then when they show you, like, hey, this is what we paid for, and you like, well, yeah, that's not really what I wanted. What I was saying, like, what, girl? What is you doing? What is the crack that is being smoking today at the Amazon? Because she literally looked like she was at Amazon on this live. But go literally looked like she was fulfilling package orders. You know what I'm saying? So, and I ain't knocking nobody's hustle. I'm not knocking Sis's hustle. I'm just like, wait a minute, you're contradicting yourself. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it's like a couple things. I totally agree. I also think, like, also for Gucci Mane, unfortunately, he has now this artist has been killed. One of his artists is in jail. Like, a lot of people are like, hey, what's up with like your crew of artists? And like, because when you are the spearhead of something, you are looked at like you're supposed to take care of your artists, whatever that means and looks like for whatever, right? Whether that's making making sure that they, their lane is made for them to be successful as just the artist, period. And then like, but for some, and you know how we are as Black people, it's like, oh, you say this, like you're supposed to show up in these particular ways, right? Whether reasonable or not sometimes. And especially when it comes to money, it's like, oh, you got it, so you should be doing this thing. So I mean, I do think that there's a fine line with that. I do understand, like I said, looking out, dropping some money, as to show love and like support and all of the things. Like, I get that, but I also think there's a very fine line with like the lengths that you go, because like when is enough? Like, how much is enough? And then the expectation with being carried by somebody else as well. And yeah, I that's all I got for that. I I hope that Gucci Mane might need to just continue to take a little hiatus and just continue on with his family or something. Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, because it does take him back, I feel like, because we have seen, especially with that verses, Lord, we seen like this elevation of him as a man, but then he's now a married man. He's now a father. And you're also dealing with somebody who came from a long-term incarceration as well. And I think that speaks volumes, because you hear a lot of people rapping about that life, but they ain't experienced that life, or they get to duck and dodge that life. Whereas he had to literally like go sit down. So I can understand, like, and I'm kind of glad his wife kind of jumped out, because that's what a wife is supposed to do, Jada.
Some people think that's not the real Gucci, that was a clone Gucci too. So,
I'm not going back and forth with these people. I'm not doing this. Like, hear me out. Hear me out. We can plastic surgery, we can liposuction, but I'm not about to argue with no grown person about a clone of a rapper. I'm not. And all rappers, Gucci Mane, hear me out. If we gonna clone a rapper, it's gonna be T.I. Anyways, moving on. dish listening partner. Anyways, I put it on my notes. Like, do we just expect our rich friends or friends, wealthier friends, to just cover us? Because sometimes, like, I find myself going out to eat with certain people, and I'll be like, I wonder if they, or do I pay, or how is this working? You know what I'm saying? And that's just going out to dinner. But could you imagine like vacations or like a funeral? You know what I'm saying? Like, if one of like Oprah's homegirls passed, do people just expect Oprah to be like, oh yeah, let me just drop a couple of racks on y'all just because I have it, like I think it's an expectation around us that wealthy people should take care of us. I mean, it's a dynamic within our family.
Yeah, I think that I do think that there's an expectation on that a lot of the times from some people around, like, oh, you got it, then you should be the one to take on the financial responsibility. He just made me think about Soul Food and Terry. Like, how, like, you take care of it and we got you like later, but like you got it, like go ahead. Like, yeah, I do think that that's the expectation. That's really interesting too, because it makes me think like I say that about they should take care of it, but I say that in reference to like when I see like historical things, like Black historical spaces about to like go under. So when it's like, oh, like Langston Hughes's house is about, I'm like, why won't somebody just go and like pay for it? Like,
right.
That's when I'd be like, okay, you want to be like, because it makes me think about like what you said earlier. Also made me think about like when you were talking about us buying stuff. It just makes me think about. I mean, a lot of it is just tied to capitalism and consumerism. Like we're all, unfortunately, as much as we try not to be, we're still like to that to some extent. But it's like if you're gonna be talking about being a Black capitalist and financial freedom and all these particular things, I feel like put the money where it matters. And I'm not saying like none of them put the money where it matters, but I'd be like, how is like this historical piece of land or this home by like this highly regarded Black figure in like culture, or like all this gentrification is, and I get large corporations and entities come in and companies but I'd be like, how is this happening when like enough of y'all got something to come in and like not let a whole the block you grew up in like now have like a Whole Foods and a Starbucks on the corner. Like I'm so confused. Like that's what I'd be like, yo, then put your money in these moments right here, like to save and preserve our stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it just goes back again to what we preference and spend money on. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched a podcast recently with B Simone, and I love B Simone. I do. She is to me, like, she's very inspirational. What I like about her is she is just naturally herself as a woman. And especially with being a comedian, I feel like, or just any entertainer in general, there's this expectation that once you get to a certain level in your livelihood, that you must have these things and you must look a certain way and carry yourself a certain way. And I love that she stands on who she is, even though I don't agree with her showering methods and time schedule. That's because I'm a fluffy girl. No fluffy girl is gonna wait and take a shower on Sunday and then come back Wednesday. We're not doing it. Nobody should do that. But you know what I'm saying? I got rolls.
No, I get it. And body, yada, yada. I too have rolls, so I get it. I agree. But also, like I don't understand going that long without bathing. Like it doesn't make sense to me. My brain doesn't understand that.
It don't compete you. Anyways, I say that to say she made a very, very awesome point on a podcast about like she doesn't own a car. And for somebody that makes a lot of money, you would think, girl, what is you like? That's the first thing you broke. That's unbroke. What? But she made like the most logical point. But still people were like, man, you just broke. You just being cheap. But she made the point is, I live in an apartment. It's going to be parked because I'm never at home. I'm never driving. I'm always traveling for work, filming, etc. And 9 times, 8 times out of 10, I'm using transportation. I'm Ubering, or you know what I'm saying, a car is being sent for me. So what's the point of having a car? And it literally, like, I know a lot of New Yorkers who struggle with that, and a lot of people who would make fun of New Yorkers, like, you ain't got a car. And it's like, they literally don't have places to park. You know what I'm saying? You almost paying as much to park and hold your car and store your car as you're paying for rent. And we know rent is inflated here. But she just made so many points. And then the fact that it holds no value. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it depreciates. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's insured and it gets wrecked and it's fixed, it double depreciates. There's nothing about that car that adds to her livelihood besides having it. It's not even a convenience, because once again, if you're a person who doesn't drive majority of the time or doesn't have to, paying for that car, to tag it, to store it, all of that, that's dumb. Another income that you're wasting. And so, I mean, literally in New York, it costs $25 an hour to park. That's the minimum. That's the minimum. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course they have fixed rates for a day, but that's going to be $100 and some for that day. So it's just so much. And I mean, she's in LA, so I can only even imagine. I don't even talk about LA parking because that's how bad it is. So I just feel like I totally understand that mindset, but we're so like, that's one thing I just hate about social media is that people just vomit thoughts and feelings into stuff. And I'd be like, yo, you probably on your mama's basement Wi-Fi, McDonald's Wi-Fi, and you trying to tell somebody how they should maneuver and operate and spend their money when they got double the money, triple, quadruple the money that you have. You know what I'm saying? And it's wild. Like I say this phrase, sexual. And excuse me if that is wrong, KUAW, but I say that for there's a lot of people who don't value like having a home. They choose to be houseless, right? And that's the thing, like being houseless is like an epidemic right now just because of the influctuation and just influx of cost.
I know.
and gentrification and just literally people being priced out of their homes for land price, that whatever project, it's just crazy. But there is a group of people who choose to live in a world of floating from couch to couch and like generating relationships with people just to have a place to stay, all in the eyes of being flexible. Like, I got this, I got that. I got $80 hoodies, you know what I'm saying? And I got watches, I got rings, but I'm literally on an air mattress or a futon. And I mean, I even see it like within like influencer world. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll see these people making videos and they're literally in an empty apartment, like no furniture, no nothing, not a, and it's just like, but you literally have like a closet thousand. And hear me out, clothes is expensive. So now we buying design, like you're literally buying a designer. I never understood like basic designer things. Like I'm not gonna buy a hoodie that's $200. That's just a plain black hoodie when I can go get Star Tech from TJ Maxx for $24.99. You know what I'm saying? But that's literally how people are like, you know, I have an Adidas this and I have a Givenchy this, and, you know.
It's the white t-shirts for me. Like I'm gonna buy
I was gonna use white t-shirt as an example
because I'm gonna spend $75 on a white t-shirt
because it's a label.
I'm okay.
And I understand labels. And there's some
things that I like. Yeah, because there's some things like, okay, like this is fly, like this is this, whatever. But like, and it ain't that it has to have like gaudy, like not that at all, but like, yo, this is a nice piece of something that like feels good, looks good, whatever. Like, great. I there's some things that I could pay for, but a white t-shirt ain't one of them. Like, I don't need to have that.
I'm not doing that.
And I can buy like a pack of 6 for like I'm not. It's a white t-shirt.
It's wild. It's wild. But I'm gonna wrap up that subject because I don't want to sound like too much of a hater. I'm just a realist. I'm at the age where
No,
I'm
it's
at the
not
auntie
about
age.
spend your
I
money how you
saw
want to spend your money, right?
your
Do
money.
you?
Yes.
It's just something I don't have to prescribe to that, and you're not gonna make me feel like less than because I don't wanna do it. Like
I agreed. And I saw this TikTok yesterday where this lady was like, no judgment, no judgment. We gotta stop judging. She was like, we at that auntie age, you know what I'm saying? And we out here judging the city girls. And we can't judge the city girls because we were city girls. We came up in that age and drop it like it's hot, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, working with them. You know what I'm saying? We done did it. And then before then, our mamas did it. You know what I'm saying? Freaknik, Bike Week, Daytona Bike Week, you know what I'm saying? Early 90s. And then, if you listen to blues music back in the day, these ladies was doing it. Stand up in it, Clarence Carter, clean up woman. Come on. Woman to woman. We've been doing it. We've been the city girls. We was just the city girls on another level. So that's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. So no judgment, no judgment. I want to hop into just our last subject before I close out the show with upcoming things and what wops and what's and what's not and what's going on. Um, Dear Soldier Boy, thanks, no thanks you. Okay.
yeah.
I don't know if y'all know, we have finally wrapped up this trial and Tory Lanez has been found guilty. And I'ma just say this, like, start believing Black women, start standing up for Black women, start giving us a pat on our back, start checking on us and asking us if we are okay. Just start
Like
giving
for
us a little
real, like
credit.
not like really do it. Don't just put it up and like hashtag it and do it because it's trendy and it sound nice. Like actually do it. The thing.
Like,
Sorry, I just had to
no, no,
because
no, no.
it's
Seriously, like
I'm
it's
tired of
it's a
it.
thing where, like, I remember the Sandra Bland incident happened, and I felt like people finally started to see it and started to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that had to have been like the worst of the worst scenario for us to understand and get it. But to see the things that I have seen on case has very much like really put me in a space of like I have lost hope. Like I've literally lost hope and I've never for once feared for my life. Like I grew up in the suburbs. I'm not really a part of gang culture. You know what I'm saying? I don't be out in these streets like that. I like lights, 9 o'clock lights out. I'm a very vanilla girl. And so I've never really feared for my life, but now as just being a Black woman in my presence, it scares me. And also for my mental well-being of how people like will tear you down. And I could only imagine, like the internet is already mean to Megan Thee Stallion. People always have something to say about her. And then to know that she was literally shot. And on top of being shot, she continued to give us a career. She continued to push out an album. She continued to tour, travel, perform, and execute who her brand was and elevate herself as a woman. Got a degree, started a business, and literally people are still questioning who she is. And the fact, I mean, we see the footage, we've seen the x-rays, we have violated her HIPAA all the way around. You know what I'm saying? And we still question and then go, well, man, why would she even get him locked up? 20 years is a lot. Like now we're blaming her for his sentencing and his deportation. That's wild to me. And I say thanks and no thanks to Soldier Boy because boy, he gets on the internet 6 months a day late and $1 short, child. Because girl, what? And secondly, and I understand sometimes you be late. And Lord, somebody go tell Stacey Dash because she just probably don't know nothing that's going on. Somebody need to go tell her about Barbara Walters, Betty White, just everybody. Okay, so anyway, the point is that he comes on and says, Tory Lanez, blah 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 blah, and then calls Megan a B, like calls her a female dog as he's describing, like, y'all don't never believe female dogs, and we gotta protect female dogs. And I'm like, what? Wait, what, sir? Who, what, when, where, why? So I know you are very passionate about this subject. I'm gonna give you this, like, why?
I mean, first off, hey, I'm all for it. And I get, sure, speak on it. But like and we all got our stuff. None of us are perfect, but I do think it's wild that someone like a Soldier Boy and a Kodak Black, because he said something too. When both of them are men who have been abusers, like, like. But now you want to take a position when you have also abused, and I feel like probably haven't taken the steps that really be held accountable for that abuse.
Right.
Like work around being better, or maybe you have, but I feel like you haven't. So to come out and make these statements, make a statement well after the trial. And yeah, like you said, people come to stuff late, but I do find it interesting. A lot of people didn't have really anything to say until the trial was actually over. But a whole 2 years of this woman being like drugged through, it was literally one rapper, and that was Bun B. So shout out to Bun B. But yeah, I don't really, that stuff don't easily move me. Like I see comments like, yeah, that doesn't move me much because it's like dripping with sexism and misogyny. So like I'm supposed to like big you up because you said we gotta stop shooting
B word, female dogs, female puppies.
Y'all out here shoot like, okay, because now I haven't, I'm checked out now. Like I can't.
It was like borderline a Kanye moment. Like I
you
see what you was doing, but
yeah, I don't got. I'm sorry. That's me. Hey, other people again. People have every right to feel how they feel, to buy into whatever they buy in. I'm just not a person to easily just buy into that stuff and like praise these type of things. Like I feel like we can do better, much better as people, as Black folks. And yeah, and as far as Meg, with that whole trial, I had put up a post about that because it's like if someone like Meg Thee Stallion, who is this huge entertainer in her own right, and has been all around the world, been on Saturday Night Live, so records, has has endorsed lines, all of these things, right? If she can receive all of this backlash and not being believed, shamed for her personal, things that she does and whatever, right, in the bedroom, who she does it with, all of these things, like, what makes you think that a woman of not her on her platform or stature that anybody is going to care about?
It just, I mean, like, it literally, the fact that they brought up her history and just, it was like, what? But y'all didn't have this energy with,
because again, it gets Cosby. It gets to this, and it really shows for as far as we feel like we moved as culture around not shaming, allowing, freedom and liberation, your own agency with, how you on a sexual level for whomever, for everybody, right? This also shows that for as far as we think we've come, there's still so much work to do and how we
so much work to do.
And again, how you value stuff. So you feel like, because also this was no one's business, but now it's out there in the world, whether it's true or not, right? But again, it's a way for you to say, hey, why would we care about a woman like this?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And there's so much rhetoric around how Black men are so under attack in all these ways. And I'm not saying Black men aren't under attack for various reasons, right? That's a whole nother conversation. So that, but I do find it funny of like this when a brother is shot or whatever, like I'm not saying people might not speak to the life that he's lived, but a lot of times, like, it's like, yo, this is terrible that this happened to him, or he's a product of his environment, or there's all of these different things. But he isn't like shamed to the point of like, oh, he deserved this because of this. In the same way in which, you know, or there's going to be some rallying, and to the point like the Tory Lanez, like, again, yo, you don't want somebody necessarily to go to jail, but when do you ever want anybody to be held accountable for anything? That's what it is. Either you gonna roll with it. It's black. Yes. It's very black and white, and it's wild to me because it's either like I'm gonna totally ignore this thing, you know, or I'm gonna speak to it. But it's like if you do that, then it's like, oh my God, you want to cancel this person. Oh my God, you trying to ruin their life. And it's like, no, like just we want people to be held accountable for a thing. And that's it, whatever that looks like. But like we never want that to happen. Whenever we call for that, it's immediately goes to you hate
you trying to cancel.
You want to tear this person. It's an attack on this. You want to cancel, when actually cancel culture really ain't even a thing. I wish we would stop. Everybody talk about it, but it ain't really a thing.
It is. I mean, it really, I'm just, there's words that I don't want to hear in 2023 or phrases, and I think that's one of them. But I want to close and wrap up on that note. We're headed to the end. Like I said, this is going to be the comedy power hour. You're going to find something funny, inspiring, whatever, encouraging, you know, and I think the key phrase today is accountability. Accountability. Hold people accountable expeditiously, partner. And clone T.I. because the world needs it. Before I go, I want to highlight our comic starting out in 2023. I want to highlight Kansas City's own, now New York's own, Dorian DeBose. If you know Dorian, he hails from Kansas City. Very funny, controversial funny sometimes, but I love him. I love him to death, and I'm so proud of him. He just got passed at Broadway Comedy Club in New York, and that is a huge, huge, huge thing for comics and just comics in general. And coming from Kansas City, it means so much. So congratulations, Dorian. I want to highlight you and everything you have been doing in NYC, in KC. Congratulations, baby. Also, people think we're cousins, and I get it. I can see it. Anyway, moving on, we got some upcoming shows coming to Kansas City, Missouri. Upcoming shows. The Comedy Club of Kansas City has some things coming for you. Got Mike Kaplan coming through this weekend. Also, make sure you check out their open mic. They're bomb, and give you opportunities to book if you're an aspiring comic. The 18th, they got Jeff Leeson coming through, and Kansas City's own Mike Baldwin will be coming through next weekend to shut it down. And the following weekend, the 26th and the 28th, we got Carlos Mencia. Pew, 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 pew. So make sure you check them out at 1130 West 103rd Street. And also the Kansas City Improv up north in Zona Rosa. We have Michael Yo coming, pew, 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 as well as Steve Trevino. And Monet Exchange is coming for one night only, baby. So get into it. If you are a RuPaul Drag Race fan, you're going to love it. It's going to sell out. Get your tickets, okay? I want to leave on a positive note. Accountability, do you soar and excel in 2023. And thank you, Chris, for coming and kicking it with me today. I appreciate you as well. If you want to catch me live, upcoming shows coming, I will be at Gail's Draft House on the 16th. That's on a Monday night. Fun show, and it's free. Food is good. Drinks are bomb and phenomenal. Also, if you're on the KCK side, February 7th, I'm coming to Hillsiders, and I'm just excited. 2023's got a lot of stuff going on. Today, I auditioned for something. I pray I get it, because if I get it, baby, you're going to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of me. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in on the Comedy Power Hour. See y'all next month. Bye-bye.